long before satellites circled the Earth, before modern seismographs blinked on computer screens, there lived a man who built a machine to detect earthquakes nearly 2,000 years ago. His invention didn't beep or buzz. Instead, it used metal dragons and toads and a single falling ball to reveal the direction of a distant quake. His name was Zhang Heng, an astronomer who mapped the stars, a mathematician who calculated the heavens, a poet who wrote with the curiosity of a scientist, and above all, a mind centuries ahead of his time. In 132 AD, he created the first earthquake detector in human history. A mechanical marvel so precise, it could sense tremors people couldn't even feel. Yet today, few know his name. This is the forgotten story of Zhang Heng, the man who listened to the earth and taught us how to understand its quiet warnings. Zhang Heng lived during the Eastern Han Dynasty, a time of prosperity, learning, and remarkable scientific curiosity in ancient China. It was a golden age where Confucian philosophy guided ethics, Taoist thought inspired observation of nature, and scholars were encouraged to seek knowledge. Born in 78 AD in the province of Nanyang, Zhang Heng showed exceptional promise from a young age. But he wasn't just a bright student. He was a visionary thinker who saw the universe not as a mystery to be feared, but a puzzle to be understood. While others explained the world through myths and legends, Zhang Heng turned to measurement, logic, and mechanical design. He studied the movements of the stars and planets, crafted astronomical models, and refined calendars that more accurately reflected Earth's place in the cosmos. His curiosity spanned everything from geometry and hydraulics to literature and poetry. Zhang eventually rose to high positions within the imperial court, serving as chief astronomer and official historian. But his most profound contributions weren't political, they were scientific. He wasn't content with simply observing nature. He built machines to replicate and understand it. Where others saw divine will in the shaking of the earth, Zhang Heng searched for a mechanical explanation. Through his writings, experiments, and inventions, he left behind a body of work that bridged philosophy, science, and engineering, centuries before such disciplines even had formal names. Though he lived in an age bound by tradition, Zhang Heng's ideas broke free of it. His true legacy wasn't just service to the empire, but a bold challenge to how humanity understood the forces of nature. He was a scientist before science had a name, and a mind whose ideas would echo far beyond his time. In ancient China, earthquakes were both feared and mysterious. With no way to predict them, they struck without warning, leveling homes, destroying temples, and shaking entire communities to the ground. To most, they were signs of divine displeasure. But Zhang Heng wasn't satisfied with superstition. He asked a groundbreaking question: can we detect an earthquake without actually feeling it? In 132 AD, he unveiled a revolutionary invention, the Hufeng Didong Yi, which roughly translates to instrument for measuring seasonal winds and earthquakes. But what Zhang had created was nothing less than the world's first seismoscope. Inside the device was a brilliantly simple yet effective mechanism, a suspended pendulum sensitive to ground vibrations. When seismic waves traveled through the earth, even from hundreds of kilometers away, the inner pendulum would shift, activating a hidden lever. This caused one of the dragon heads to drop a ball into the mouth of its corresponding toad, indicating the direction of the distant earthquake. The machine didn't just look impressive, it worked. Historical records describe a day when the device triggered, despite no local shaking in the capital. Days later, a messenger arrived confirming a powerful earthquake had struck far to the west, exactly in the direction the seismoscope had indicated. Zhang Heng's invention was centuries ahead of its time, a mechanical marvel based on pure physics, not mythology. Long before modern seismology existed, he had created a tool that listened to the earth and spoke back with precision. It was not magic, it was engineering, and a glimpse into the future of science. But Zhang Heng was far more than just the inventor of an earthquake detector. His mind reached into the heavens. He built one of the world's first water-powered armillary spheres, a mechanical model of the stars and planets. Using flowing water to rotate the sphere, Zhang created a dynamic tool for tracking celestial bodies long before telescopes existed. In essence, it was an early analog computer, bridging astronomy and engineering in a single elegant device. Zhang also reformed the calendar and developed more accurate timekeeping systems for the Chinese Empire. His astronomical observations helped correct errors in the traditional lunar calendar, improving everything from farming schedules to imperial rituals. And beyond equations and mechanics, Zhang was also a poet and philosopher. In his writings, he described the Earth as a suspended sphere floating in space, an idea centuries ahead of its time and radically different from the flat Earth model still common in many cultures. To Zhang Heng, science, art, and philosophy were not separate paths but reflections of the same truth. He saw the universe as a grand puzzle, one that could be understood through logic, observed through instruments, and appreciated through poetry. His legacy isn't just in what he built, but in how he thought, with curiosity, imagination, and a deep reverence for the natural world. With all his brilliance, you might wonder, why isn't Zhang Heng a household name today? The truth is, much of his legacy was lost to time. His inventions, writings, and ideas faded through the centuries, caught in the tides of war, dynastic upheaval, and shifting priorities. As China changed hands between emperors and ideologies, countless scrolls were destroyed, and the achievements of early thinkers like Zhang Heng were often forgotten or buried under new agendas. Even in his homeland, his name became a footnote in history rather than a headline. In the Western world, Chinese science remained largely invisible for centuries. With little cultural exchange between East and West during the medieval period, Zhang Heng's groundbreaking work, his seismoscope, his star charts, his philosophical insights, never made it into the global conversation. He was remembered in fragments, referenced in ancient records, praised by a few scholars, but never fully recognized for the genius he was. And yet, his legacy survived, hidden in dusty scrolls and whispered through the pages of history. Today, as we rediscover the roots of innovation, Zhang Heng's story is finally coming back to light. A story not just of one invention, but of a mind that reached far beyond its time. Now his name is being remembered, not just in textbooks, but in the story of human curiosity itself. Today we live in an era of satellites, digital sensors, and real-time seismic data. We can track earthquakes as they happen, measure their magnitude, and even simulate their effects using powerful computers. But at the heart of all this modern technology lies a simple, timeless principle: that the Earth speaks, and if we learn how to listen, we can prepare for what's to come. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Zhang Heng understood this. With no electricity, no computers, and no scientific institutions as we know them, he built a machine that could detect distant tremors, purely through mechanical design and scientific reasoning. His work is more than a historical curiosity. It's a reminder that curiosity, logic, and invention transcend time. Zhang Heng imagined the future long before it arrived. He dared to ask questions others hadn't thought to ask, and he answered them not with myth or mysticism, but with measurement, engineering, and bold imagination. In an age when science and technology continue to advance at lightning speed, Zhang Heng's story reminds us of a deeper truth: that innovation is not defined by tools, but by the mindset of those who seek to understand the world. Though his name was nearly lost to history, his influence still echoes in every data point we record, every tremor we track, and every step we take to make the unseen forces of nature visible. Zhang Heng, an astronomer, inventor, and poet, a man who didn't just observe the world, but listened deeply to the Earth itself, creating a device that let it speak. Yet his name remains a quiet whisper among the giants of history. Like so many brilliant minds before and after him, Zhang Heng's story was nearly lost, buried beneath the sands of time. But today we bring him back. If you're fascinated by the hidden geniuses who shaped our world long before modern science took hold, then you found the right place. Subscribe to Ancient Minds, where we explore the lives and legacies of the greatest forgotten scientists, engineers, and thinkers across history. And coming soon, you'll meet an engineer who dreamed of human flight centuries before Da Vinci ever sketched his flying machines. Stay curious, because history's greatest minds are waiting to be rediscovered.